devoted followers who leave their families for you, give their money to you, give their bodies to you, give up their lives for you, consider you God, and will kill for you? Don't you want to become a cult leader? Since the death of God, there's been a vacancy opened. You could fill that void. Here's how.
For my classmates watching, hello, greetings. To the newcomers to my channel. For the usual people, I haven't eaten and I need sleep. Before we start with the video, let me start with a prayer. Oh, great Cthulhu, let us be thrown back into your sweet embrace of your darkness. We have destroyed ourselves. Consume us, please, my lord. Great. All good. As I am the leader of this group, my group can get a little out of control if I don't stay on them. I mean, we're gonna have fun, obviously, but we need to have it in the proper way to honor the Great One. Just like any other group. Or, the more common name for it, a cult. What's that? Without even knowing, cults have been slowly invading our ways of entertainment, teaching, and even some political standings in history. Throughout the years, before any of us, cults have had a multitude of hands and changes of history, sometimes just under another name, with some more recent ones taking center stage online. It continues. The debate has formed once more around this harm, effect, and signs of a cult throughout US history. I'm here to add to it in a more objective way. Trying to, at least. Before we start digging, though, to answer some of the questions about cults or cult behavior, we'll need to look at the more basic cults in history to understand how we got here.
Trust and obey, for there's no other way. Trust and obey, for there's no other way. Trust and obey, for there's no.
At the very least, you may have seen a screenshot of this old vintage looking Christian puppet show called Life with Grandpa. I first found out about this through Nick Crowley's video, as well as many other people. The family, the name of the cult, was led by a man named David Berg, starting as a devoted follower of Christ before falling up deeper into the more self-serving vision. He started as a Christian group, which started to grow larger and got even more twisted as it slowly grew in numbers.
David grew up a devout believer in Christianity, but wanted something more from the religion. He dreamed of one day starting his own group with his own teachings. And in 1968, at the ripe age of 50, he decided it was time to do just that. And at first, David got by with fairly standard teachings from the Bible, although this wouldn't last. After some time, Berg began addressing his followers via frequent illustrated messages called Mo letters that featured his ramblings and teachings from the time, with Berg slowly ingraining into his members that the contents of these letters should be taken as seriously, if not more so, than the Bible.
He soon after started to establish rules in these groups, or more suitable, laws. The law of love and flirty fishing, which forced the women in the cult to soon sell themselves to strangers in hopes of either bringing in cash or bringing in more members to the cult. As you could have probably guessed, children were not spared from this law as well. The family is still active, having the same teachings as David Berg's has, even as his death did occur years ago.
Now, take your glasses off. Just dare in our faith. We've seen Sister Brown here who was blind, totally healed. We saw one of our sisters blind from her childhood.
Now this one is more on the common side to the public when it comes to the word cult. And it's also an example of red flags you need to look out for a person. And also another reason to have your tubes tied if you're a woman, but Jim Jones started off as a poor boy who had a draw to traditional Christian values, charismatic, and even an advocate for racial equality. Wow, okay. He had the makings of a one of those good old Southern preachers. He started to gain followers, of course, as he got older. He even called it the People's Temple. Of course, it started to twist as the group grew, of course. As it's written in the article by The Guardian, he soon drifted away from traditional Christian teachings, describing himself in mas- mas- other terms, and claiming that he was the reincarnation of figures like Christ and Buddha, soon moving the cult outside of American borders in the imaginary fear of it being in danger of nuclear disaster. It would be there that they would meet their end in a mass death. It's not right to call it a mass suicide. I don't feel like it's right, since many did fight back, but they were killed, essentially. Most did commit suicide, but others were simply killed, including the children and the animals. As these cults thrived, died, in every other way, they unknowingly live on with the public until the end of time. They live on with the survivors and the public, the memory either being so twisted and disgusting that they can't be forgotten, or they simply just come out of nowhere in the middle of the day. Many don't take the time to wonder what happened afterwards. The silence after the bodies hit the ground. The total number of people who died in Jonestown, willingly or unwillingly, babies to elderly, was about 918. When the news hit the U.S. public, of course, the families wanted the bodies to be buried properly. The U.S. Dover Air Force handled cleanup and the other matters relating to this, as the military was the only organization able to handle mass casualty recovery. It's no surprise that the sight of all the bodies, children and animals included, scarred a percentage of the workers and volunteers who handled this aftermath. The Air Force soon started a study on the impact of the workers that also offered a glimpse at just how complex the issue is. Some were kept awake at night from the horrors, some were angry that they were cleaning up fanatic bodies, and some had a spiritual awakening about their place in the world. With news coming to someone like that, not everyone will just be shell shocked or just emotionally distraught. Some will just choose to be angry.
That will survive the recycling. One type of individual is those individuals that have overcome their humanness.
Heaven's Gate was your more truer cult to the stereotypes, believing in aliens and ascension through death and whatnot. Surprisingly, one of the calmer cults in history, as they acquired the adoption of an asexual appearance. They soon met their end by mass suicide, drinking the Kool-Aid. Oh no! So, that's not funny. I'm so sorry. Rio D'Angelo was a survivor of Heaven's Gate, meant to tell the world of the group's story. Like most victims of these groups, he was lost in his life until he found the group and felt like he was in a proper family. They all lived like we were living in a monastery, and all were celibate individuals looking forward to self-achievement. Years after the event, he admitted to missing the group while still choosing to move on. People would not hire me because they thought I was part of some crazy thing. There is sadness for the aftermath of a cult, but there also is some anger aimed towards the survivors. Some believe that the victims were stupid for even joining a group like that, while others shun them and look down on them if they were working for a bigger part of the cult. Some of you have probably noticed that I've been intentionally switching up my words from cult to group. To add variety to my script, you can tell I'm reading a script right now. Yeah. But also, we don't know what to call these groups. Well, classify them, to be specific. Sociology. The study of social life, social change, and the social causes and consequences of human behavior, defined by Google. Even in the mid-80s, sociologists have debated about the word cult being laden with negative connotations, as stated by Paul J. Olson in his work The Public Perception of Cults and the New Religious Movements. A survey was conducted in Nebraska for this debate, held by. A survey was conducted in Nebraska for this debate, held by the Bureau of Sociological Research at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Around 2,400 people were randomly selected, with a 44.4% of them taking part of it. All were asked how comfortable they would be if their neighbor joined a cult, new religious movement, or new Christian church. Further in the document, one of the sociologists, only named Miller, prefers alternative religious movements to describe groups that popular medias refer to as cults. Others in the debate have suggested I can't read, I'm sorry. Will simply changing the terminology for the word cult really remove the negative emotions linked to this word? Apparently, in some cases, yes. The result of the past mentioned survey showed that many had a distaste towards the word cult, while the terms new religious movement or new Christian church had a less negative and more positive reaction. But that's just Nebraska that feels that way, honestly. And that's in the early 2000s that we're talking about. Times and emotions have changed since then. And most have started to brand anything foreign as cult-like. So, and if it ain't Christian, then it ain't welcome in the US of A. Now, here's where I get excited. I do have a source for this topic, yes, but I don't really need it. Wanna know why? Because I was in this cult. I was the first. I have seen everything. I just needed pictures to really pull from. So I first found Gigi, the leader of this self-named cult, as I was scrolling through TikTok. I was bored, didn't think of it much, so I interacted. I thought it was cool. You know, I like to make little characters here and there, you know. So I was like, what the heck, whatever. After a while, got bored, losing interest, so I left. I come back now, and apparently the cult now has a sign that they put in their names to tell which is the members and which are not. Yeah, not too bad, whatever. And someone carved it into their leg. What? People have been pointing out every little weird thing that Gigi has said with all this. Something, she was like, I'm gonna come into your house and carve it in your skin at night while you sleep. She also told this. She told him that. She told him to do it. And people, please. Now there's a picture of the supposed person who carved it into her leg. And I just have to say this. I'm genuinely asking this question. I'm so for real. How are we supposed to know that this is real? We don't even know if this is like a real carving. We don't. It's just a picture. You can edit a picture. I'm being honest. I'm being for real. I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just saying, how do we for real know that this is not fake? And supposedly people have been sacrificing their pets to her as well. And the only evidence is just a text from Discord. Are we serious right now? More screenshots came out. And it was in a joking way of, oh yeah, post your animals here as a sacrifice. You know, like the cat tax. Oh, there's only one thing that happened on the internet. There's only one cult on the internet, and it's TikTok, so it's not really that surprising. Wrong. Serial killers. A good amount of you might remember the craze of people feeling sorry or wanting to sleep with serial killers on TikTok. Specifically, well, not specifically, including a guy named Wade Wilson. You know, the guy who murdered 2 women from the Medium. A convicted serial killer has become a viral sensation on TikTok, with tens of thousands of women expressing admiration and affection for him. Why? Who knows? The article continues with some reasons that this may occur: confidence and charisma, personality appeal, or just low self esteem. It got so bad back then, around the times when Ted Bundy first got arrested, that it was actually coined as the Bonnie and Clyde syndrome. Some others to note were Chris Watts, murdered his wife and children, Nicholas Cruz, school shooter, and Jeremy Meeks, who was arrested for felony weapons charges and is now a model. Crime does pay, everyone. Cult behavior has evolved alongside us. It grows as we do through every year, hour, and minute. It has caused the most terrifying and horrifying events in history, while the modern crowd takes away that power with jokes while still being respectful to the dead. Somewhat. Even with this, some cult behaviors have grown more powerful and bigger than we think. Maybe that behavior will have power that simple jokes or TikToks can't really take away. Maybe things will be fine. I mean, I don't think so, but hey, anything can happen, right? It is 11:04. It is 11:04 at night and I'm done. I'm finally done. I can sleep.